I went to school at Brooklyn College, where that fucking communist guy, man, he just fucking took over the whole world. He's out there now, but I went to school out there and I got my master's degree, and they had this great thing where I could go from Brooklyn College, which was like the home base campus. I could go over to what was it like, Marymount, Manhattan, or something like that, and it had a 3 camera television studio in there, so they let me like double major in stage direction and television, multi-camera and TV production. It was
Oh, you're
awesome.
kidding.
I loved it. Yeah, it was great. And now all I have is the debt to show for it, but it was a fun time.
That's actually pretty cool. I stumbled into it too. I went for music production, and I did a double major in film and TV, and
Yeah.
here I am.
Hey, congratulations for still doing something cool like this. I'm trying to be a cool musician now, and these guys are propping me up, and that's why it works out for me. But you got your own thing, man. This is cool.
Nice, nice. Now, I have 2 channels. One's a surf channel, and because you were the Surf Lords, I stumbled upon you thinking I was going to find an instrumental surf band. But there's way more to you guys than that. So, Mark, Josh, John, you wanna kind of describe what's going on in the Surf Lords?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I want everybody to chime in, so I'll try to be short and sweet. But I think what we set out to do actually goes all the way back to Detroit, not in Athens, present day. And the two of us actually had started a band in Detroit, 2006, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't think either one of us said surf out loud then. I don't remember that anyway. That's where we picked up the post-apocalyptic progressive title. Somebody gave that to us. We were asking, I think we were just talking to somebody and kind of like, oh, what did you think about the show? And they said it sounded like that, and I've kept it ever since. But I think the surf for me comes out of that title because as I always envision writing songs now in the last couple of years, that sort of post-apocalyptic image. I don't know why, but it always conjured in me a surfboard. I always thought of somebody like surfing on the side of a nuclear mushroom cloud, or like surfing on oil barrels in an oil spill, right? Like just weird shit like that crossing.
Yeah.
So for me, that's where the sound comes from. Now these guys will tell you differently because they're real musicians. That they probably understand. They understand the genre, but that's where my trippy brain goes. But I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite style of music. Goes back to especially Shadowy Man on a Shadowy Planet.
Oh yeah.
Once I saw, I was watching Kids in the Hall, and then that intro comes in, and I was like, "What is this?" So once I heard that, I knew like, no, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
So that's
I
where,
think.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. I think a lot of us young kids, when they first discovered Kids in the Hall, were like, "Wait, what's that theme song? That sounds like an actual band."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that kind of sent me down a rabbit hole, and so I've been playing surf since then. So everything I write, at least, is heavily informed by surf, and especially it's like surf adjacent. It's that kind of that '90s resurgence of surf.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
definitely has that prog feel as well. The odd timings, especially the timings that Justin comes up with on the stuff that he writes. When you get into the odd timings and the progressions, a lot of them remind me of stuff like in Yes, progressions they would do. And then you combine it with the surf, you put the reverb on it, you get that whole progressive surf thing going on. It is really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some vocals in your music.
yeah, that's actually sometimes upsets people. Like if you play a traditional surf festival, like some people have approached me afterwards and been like, "What were you thinking?" And that's okay.
Oh,
That,
really?
yeah, I didn't know that would ever happen. It's not like in large numbers. It's only a few people have ever said that, but it has happened, and it kind of made me realize that, like, oh yeah, we are kind of messing with something sacred here. Like I
Wait.
said, I'm not. These two guys are much better musicians than I am, so they understand music in a way that I don't. Just flat out. So for me, sometimes I can step on things and be clunky because I don't realize what I'm disrespecting. So it's a thin line. I'll say that because when we started in 2006, Some of the lyrics I still sing were written then, so they go all the way back to that time. And at that time, I take back everything I just said. My goal was actually the opposite, was to be, maybe a little offensive and to step on things and bang around the room and sort of make people feel uncomfortable. So it's weird to be on both sides of that spectrum. But what I was also going to say is I don't want to leave the other topic too fast because these guys didn't mention it, but they play in a different band that has nothing to do with me, and it's called the Spectre of Serf. And so, like having these two guys together in this band with me, banging around being a weirdo, actually grounds me, and so Mark, I wanted you to say something about that if you don't mind, because your bass playing is part of the reason we recruited Mark. I used to try to play both bass and guitar, and we would just switch live during the show. But it got to a point where it was like, wouldn't it be nice if we had the bass lines all the time? And so cue Mark, and this guy's incredible.
Yeah, so this is how Joshua and I met. There was an ad in, I think it was Craigslist, something like that. There was a looking for a surf band looking for a bass player, and I'm always curious to see what's going on, willing to try new things. And I'm like, yeah, surf. Knew a little bit of surf music or whatever, and I heard some bands like Daikaju and some other ones. I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try, and it was just traditional surf covers, Ventures type covers, and Josh and I we did that, and then he was playing with Surf Lords, and they did, I guess it was 2 years ago, the Surf Stomp in Athens.
Nice.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
So Spectre played there, Surf Lords played there, and then it was kind of like, hey, we could put something together here that would be really awesome. So that's where it started from, or at least that's when I was involved in it, got involved in it, and we've been going ever since.
That's becoming a really, really big festival. It's growing. It grows every year. I remember when it first started making, for lack of a better word, waves. Right out of COVID, like they were hitting it hard. They wanted bands to come out, so everybody was having a festival, and that one just kept growing. They had the sponsorship, Johnny from Missing Fink, Chad Shivers, Noah Jeremiah from Otitis Media. Like everybody got together to make that one happen.
Oh, that one's slightly different, but there's a lot of overlap there. That's the Southern Surf Stomp.
Yeah. Which one are you talking about then?
The Athens Surf Stomp.
Yeah, we do the Athens Surf Stomp.
Oh, nice. I didn't know there was one. Tell me about that one.
We start. So Nate Fackler, who founded Spectre of Surf, started that 10 years ago, and we've taken that over and we organize that now, and we do it in the spring every year. And last year we had like 125 people come out for it, and 6 or 7 bands. So it's good turnout, and it's really, really fun.
That's Southern Brewing, right?
We did it at Southern Brewing last year. Since Southern Brewing closed down, it's a real shame. That was a really nice stage and a really nice venue. But we did it at Authentic Brewing this past year.
There's something about it's unique, I think, to the Millennium, where they have these festivals at the breweries. I know up by Philadelphia there's one. It's kind of actually in Jersey, but Slowy and the Boats from High Tide, they're from Philly also. They play there, and there's just something about that atmosphere really relaxing, and it's nice to have some surf music to lay back on, and then maybe some prog to kind of shift gears a little bit.
Yeah, we did play for the first time. Jamie and Chad and them invited us out to play the Southern Surf Stomp at Avondale Estates a couple months ago, and that was a lot of fun. So it's kind of like a sister organization almost. And we knew a lot of the guys, and we were happy to play out there too. But both of those kind of skew a little bit more towards the traditional instrumental. kind of surf music, and which we can do. And one thing we didn't mention is that Justin, our drummer, who's the drummer in both Surf Lords and Spectre of Surf, he's also part of that, and since we're doing bad puns, he's instrumental in both bands.
Yeah.
And he writes a lot of our music, like Mark was saying. So, like the progressive aspect, the odd timings. Jonathan writes a lot of songs in 5/4.
By accident, I don't do it on purpose.
And we've got a song that goes like 4/4 the whole time through, and then like 4 minutes in it just switches to 3/4 for like 4 seconds. But Justin writes a couple that are, you'll skip a count and everything. And I think if he was here, he'd probably say that kind of that early Pink Floyd is kind of his wheelhouse of where he's aiming for. So he's got a really good compositional background. So when he writes down music, like if I write a song, and everybody kind of takes turns writing songs and composing stuff, working through it together for the arrangements and for how it's gonna, when we've got questions about how it's gonna sound. But I'll bring like a riff and an arrangement and something, and Jonathan will do the same with some lyrics. Justin writes a song and he'll just like print out a score and he's like, here you go, this is your part. And I'm like, all right. now I'm in the progressive surf orchestra.
And I can't read music that well. So for him, I look at him and I just like push it away. I'm like, that's not gonna work for me. I can read bass. I can play bass, but read music. But that's Mark's job now. So I just with him, we've got a song where I play glockenspiel, and partially because, and it's not recorded yet, so it's gonna be on our next album. But
oh, nice.
It's
do you kind of just lean over and go, what key is this in?
Well, he's a very competent guitar player, as you can hear these guys talk. Like I keep saying, like they're the musicians to me. What I do is just try to find space, and so I didn't want to try to put another guitar part once I heard what he was doing. I was like, there's no business for another guitar part. It's covered, So to be honest with you, the glockenspiel has the key notes printed on top of the keys. You can't see that from the audience, but yeah, that's how I learned the songs. It's just like, okay, I'm just basically like a kid with like a taiko set, and I'm just banging away on the notes, and that's kind of how I do it. I'm not as eloquent as these guys are, but it works. And the part of what happens is, I think when you get into a live show, which is different than the album, we have kind of a weird mixture of energies together too. So that kind of all forms like a tornado, and that's where I think the post-apocalyptic comes in for me. Is obviously we could have a whole different podcast about what that means in the current present day world, but just on the creative side of that, for me, what it means is just like, what happens after a major disaster, or like what's the energy when you come out of your house and you see a tornado bearing down on your front lawn.
Yeah.
When it's about to rain.
It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and that's part of where I think that's what takes us away from the surf. They hold down the perfect genre all the way up until that point, and then we just get a little weird and push it around a little bit to see what the energy is like in the room.
Yeah. I think maybe that Reagan era, Cold War, nuclear threat had, ever since then, there's always been that, the image of aftermath and dystopia and post-apocalyptic. I think ever since then, like, there was always this scare, like, any day this could happen.
Yeah, of course. And now they've even said they're going to reopen nuclear testing again. So didn't know that was going to happen when we wrote the album, but we called it, Return to Mayhem, because we kind of saw that mayhem was on its way back. That's obvious, but I think we called it Volume 2 because, and I don't think we ever even talked about this. We just joke about it privately because we're like, there's no Volume 1. We just went to Volume 2. But for me, Volume 1 will probably be our third album. We'll do 2, 3, but one
a prequel.
Exactly, that's gonna happen. First, second, and third acts, But for me, I guess Volume 1 was always the Detroit stuff. We'll go back to that someday. There wasn't a lot there. I like to call those years shitty and rare. And we landed in places and we knocked some people around and we got out. But a lot of those recordings, at least the concerts, still exist. So someday we'll put those out. But I think
Oh, nice.
I think that's going to come last, right? So we've got Volume 2, Return to Mayhem. Volume 3 is probably where we're going next in the next 6 to 12
I
months.
think we got like 5 or 6 songs written for that.
Yeah, and some of them, I don't know how you know, you said you were checking us out, which we appreciate, and I don't know how much you saw, but you would have saw some of the songs because we play them live. So if you watch any live videos recently, we play them, but they're just not on an album yet. So come back.
Yeah, I saw the Instagram page, but I went to your Bandcamp page.
Okay.
And I noticed there's a volume 2. It was like 17 songs.
Correct. Yep.
Which I thought was a little unusual for a surf band. But was happy because I like a longer. If you're gonna make a full length, I like one that's a bit longer.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I feel like, especially when you're putting on a debut, I don't want to belabor the subject. If we're good, then we're good, I guess, and hopefully people will agree. But like at the same time, is show people what you got is my idea. Don't spare.
Yeah.
I don't want to put anything on there that doesn't belong or that's not finished. But if you're gonna introduce yourself, introduce yourself.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. I always think if you're in a band, like your not job, but like the goal is to document the experience.
Yeah. We did the first one we wrote over maybe a year or two, and we recorded it as we were writing it. And so we recorded that first album over the course of a year in four different long weekends in the studio.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing is you just reminded me that we also had this kind of, I don't know if we have formally agreed to this or if it just worked out that way, but as we were writing and recording, we were also playing shows. So we might have maybe a Friday night show, a Saturday recording session that follows. And so we always got to play the songs live before we recorded them, right? Like that entire album had been performed for an audience before it was recorded, and that's one of the things I'm kind of the most proud of was we tested the songs. It wasn't manufactured in a room somewhere because we actually were not even in the same place. I lived in Florida at the time, so I was writing from Florida and just traveling to Athens, doing that long weekend we just talked about, and then just going back home and looking at the calendar for when I could come back and do it then, so it really was a full-out effort, everybody in their corner just doing the best they can and then making the most out of those 3-day weekends. So I think that's reflected in the sound to me when I listen to it. It's tight. We were good. I mean, if I say so myself, we succeeded.
Yeah.
The goal was, but at the same time, I like that it also sounds to me it gives me a little anxiety. It's a little frenetic because you can kind of hear that we're in there. We got to make this work, So I hope that's what the goal is for the next album. We're all better at what we do now, and I think we kind of understand more about what we're trying to achieve. But I don't want to lose that sense of lightning in the bottle that we were just kind of joking about earlier. That feeling.
Yeah.
That these songs are brand new. I don't want them to, ever sound like they're overdone or something. So that's kind of where I did it.
The image I got is absolutely post-apocalyptic because the vocals are kind of haunting, and that goes well with like the proggy surf element, and there are elements of like traditional surf guitar. It's pretty apparent, like it starts off that way, but then it kind of gets like you said about a tornado, it just kind of gets like wound up in a whole bunch of different directions all at one time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that that's a compliment?
Yeah, please. Yeah, keep going if you want. Yeah, you don't have to stop there. We like it.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
It's like I said, we steal all this. I don't want to self-define. So like the post-apocalyptic progressive thing, that's why it's one of the first things I mentioned. I wanted to be clear that like we didn't invent that. Someone said that and I liked it, so I kept it. But that's important to me. Is I don't want to self-define what we are. I love hearing other people's perspectives. So thank you for the compliment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe we all seem like before the interview we were talking about movies and stuff. And it seems like we all come from the same school where, I'm gonna reference a really really bad movie, but I liked it. It was called Night of the Comet.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you guys know that movie,
I do.
it's kind of about that.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic, but kind of new wave kind of vibe.
Very 80s.
Man,
Yeah, very very 80s.
I think you just gave me an idea because we're playing a show in December and it's at a place in Athens called Cine. It's a we could talk about that for the entire podcast. It's one of the great things about Athens. They have these cool cinemas, right? And this place has a concert venue attached to two other screens that are just for movies, so that you can go see a movie, walk out, grab a beer, and walk across the hall and see a concert in the same night.
And there's no bleed in audio.
I don't know how they do it, but you can watch an undisturbed movie in one room and an undisturbed concert in the other. Live rock music too.
But it's got a full. It's like a huge movie screen where you can project whatever you want while you're playing the show.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So for us, this is like last year we called it our Super Bowl. Like this is the big show we always want to do every year because we can put our music videos, all these images we're talking about, this whole thing that you can't hear, right? You have to see that part. That you can. So you can come out to Cine and you can finally see the music just blend completely into a cinematic quality music video for every song.
I love that. I love that about surf music in general.
Yeah, for sure. And we got clever, so to speak, if I can say so myself, last year when we did it, and we took Sega CD. I wish Justin was here because this is a segment he would love to talk about. But I share the same passion for him for Sega CD. Do you remember that, man? Back in like 1994 or something.
The game?
Yeah, the CD-ROM.
Sega
came out with a console that was like not cartridge based, and
Sega Genesis.
Yes, they attached the Genesis to a CD-ROM port, basically, and they became one, and we loved that together. And so we took basically the entire video story from a game called Corpse Killer, and we sprinkled it in between all of our songs. So you can actually watch the full story of the video game Corpse Killer in between all the music videos for all of our songs.
That's actually a really really cool idea.
So I was trying to think about, well, how am I going to update it for this year's show, and I think you just gave it to me. You need to fly out here and see that show because you can take the spots from that movie too, and instead of the Corpse Killer video game, it'll be the spots from the movie, right?
I would. Well, you were talking about how you love editing video and stuff before the interview. Did you have a huge part in compiling this the cinematic story?
He did. He created 17 individual music videos for all of our songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then we timed it out, and Justin figured out the timing and played with the click track so that we lined up our performance exactly with the videos that Jonathan produced.
Yeah.
And then I clicked it I had like a little Bluetooth linked pedal to click through everything, and
we're weird, man. We're
thank
weirdos.
God it worked.
Yeah.
No technological glitches.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about because my technical background is all about triggers and video macros where you're going from one scene and you're cutting out of it and cutting to another one. So I get what you're talking about. It makes sense.
Yeah. So I would love for you to come see it. You're so far away, but we'll work it out, man. But if not, like maybe someday we'll get on the road and bring it closer to where you are. But it's really cool. And the reason why I say that is not just to pat myself on the back, but there's actually a lot of bands in Athens that do that anyway. We're not the only ones. You can go to Cine all the time and see shows there, and you can see bands playing all kinds of cinema behind it. It's great.
That's kind of like an unfair advantage for you guys because when you go on tour, you have this huge Athens influence on your music when you go out.
I hope so. I would love to have that be considered the case because I have the utmost respect for this place. These guys have been around for a while, so they can tell you a lot more than I can about Athens. But I've been here for about a year and a half, and I don't intend to ever leave. I think music is the greatest place I've ever been in terms of being able to go out on any given night and catch a band somewhere, and that's partially why we're doing this.
I assume that's why Johnny Fink from Missing Fink Records. I'm assuming that's why he set up shop in Athens and stayed there. It's pretty important to him as well.
Yeah, I will say that this room we're sitting in is a fortunate place for me because I managed to rent this place we're talking to you from, and it's a house that's kind of known in the community. It used to be called the Bakeries, I guess. It predates me, but it does have a soundproof music studio on the other side of this wall where we jam. This is kind of Surf Lord's headquarters, and on the other side of us, you can see in the background there's a door with a glass window in it. I use it as an office space, but it used to be the sound control room for the studio that was in here. And to my knowledge, I don't know these guys, so I'm not trying to name drop, but to my knowledge, the Drive-By Truckers recorded some of their first demo stuff in this space. And I just wanted to mention that because I think it's typical, not just because it's my house, but like this is that kind of a city. Like you just walk around in the neighborhoods and you realize you're kind of walking past these houses where people have set up their own studios, done their own music. And the downtown in Athens it's only like 10 blocks maybe?
Yeah.
You can walk a circle around the entire downtown in Athens in probably a half hour, and there's probably 20 places I want to visit on a regular basis that play music every night, So I just wanted to get that in there real fast. Shout out to Athens for allowing us to play inside of that city. And you're going to want to come check it out someday, man. If you like music, this is the place to do it.
I really had no idea Athens was so rich with music. This is pretty exciting for me to hear. I mean, I know Georgia is rich with music, but I didn't realize Athens specifically.
I mean, Mark and Joshua talk here because I said everything I can say. These guys know it way better than I do.
Yeah, REM, B-52s, Pylon. There's just been a ton of great bands come out of Athens.
Of Montreal, right? Neutral Milk Hotel kind of thing.
And those are the ones that made it big. There's a ton of bands here. There's music every night. So just go to a bar, you're going to hear a band. It's a great town for music.
Maserati. That you were talking about instrumental earlier. Do you know Maserati?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Check it out for sure.
Yeah. Nice. And even like the B-52s. I mean, they had a kind of like a punk thing, but a lot of it was surf guitar, especially in the early days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got we have a hockey arena here in Athens, which is super cool. We're going to a hockey game tomorrow, but they've got.
Who's your team?
Well, we're going to a UGA versus Michigan State game tomorrow.
Nice.
So we got the Athens Rock Lobsters. Speaking of B-52s, our hockey team is Lobsters.
Yeah. Just got to interrupt you on that because on the Athens topic too, I realized as we went and sat like right on the glass at a Rock Lobster game, and it was my first time in there. And they have like a little music hall of fame inside the building. Like they have glass cases with like actual instrumentation that some of the famous bands around here have used. Like this place, music even in a sports stadium. Like when's the last time you went to a sports stadium and they had the music hall of fame inside of it?
Wow.
And they have a B-52s displayed behind the case, and they have Ricky Wilson's Moss-Wright guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on display at the hockey arena.
Yeah, it's a great place. I'm going to gush about it. You're probably going to want to change the subject, but let Mark. Mark's been playing like when we played 40 Watt recently, and I'm again sound like the name dropper of the band, but I'm using it to cue up Mark because Mark played there long before I ever moved to the city. Like Mark knows what that place was like long before me. So, is there anything you can say about what you used to see down there at that point in time?
Well, a lot of the places have changed. So, I used to play back in the '90s because I graduated from Georgia, and in the mid to late 90s, I played in several bands and several clubs downtown, and a lot of them, have come and gone. I used to play at a place called the Atomic. It was a great place, great, music every night, and played at the 40 Watt as well. And, I go in the 40 Watt, like 30 years later, and it's like, wow, this place has not changed at all. So, a lot of it's come and gone. A lot of it's still the same, but, a lot of great music in all these different places.
Yeah.
Nice. So the album has been out. Has it been a full year?
About a year and maybe 4 months, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was June 1st we released it.
Okay, so and you have 6-ish songs. When do you plan on going into the studio, and where are you? How's your summer been as far as playing other than the festivals?
So we had this year we did a 4 month residency at Authentic Brewing, um, and Paul's been very good to us there, and we had I think we really honed our skills playing, at conversational volume, working out some new songs and stuff. We played the Athens Surf Stomp. Um, we did the Southern Surf Stomp at Avondale Estates. We played 40 Watt. We played Nowhere Bar just about 2 weeks ago. That's a really great kind of divey bar. Probably the last of the great dive bar venues. Perfect sound, and George and everybody down there treats all the bands with the utmost respect. Um,
It's like Detroit as well. It reminds me of Detroit, and that's what I was saying at the start. We played the ugliest, dirtiest, darkest places you could ever imagine, and it was awesome. And he has that place down there that reminds me. So it feels like going home whenever we play there.
yeah, except it's way better because the sound is good.
Yeah.
He pays the bands fairly. The pool tables are level. It's
Recently recovered. I saw that too. Recovered.
That's another place that the Nowhere Bar has been there forever. That was there back in the day too. So it's a staple.
Yeah, and then we got the Cine show. So I think we're gonna finish out the year with we average about a gig a month, and that's been pretty good. That's sustainable and trying out some new stuff. But for recording, we record with. So we recorded our last album with Chris Byron. Mark and I recorded an album with Chris Byron for Spectre of Surf in 2022 or something. And it's a good experience. He knows us pretty well. He knows how to get a little bit out of us. Push us when we're a little tired. But we record up at New Chief Space, which is it's a nonprofit here in Athens with recording spaces, recordings or practice spaces, a recording studio. They own the tower from the church where REM played their first show.
Oh.
And their mission is mental health, essentially. Like they really. That's another one of those places we could talk about for an hour. They're fantastic. Like they make their money off of helping people, and then they just turn that money into a nonprofit center for continuation of help and artists to have places to go and record and be a community. So, another shout out to Athens, man. There's just places like that all over here that are incredible. And I guess I would just add on to what he's saying, that when do we want to do the album? I hate the cold. I like when the cold happens, I want to hibernate. So it does get a little chilly in Athens. I'm starting to get scared. I don't do my best. I'll do my best work when I'm cold. So probably in the spring would be my guess. But I will say that I hope we do it before AI music kills everyone. Because what's happening there? My goal is just to do it faster than the robots can. That's my simplest thing.
Well, it's funny because I don't know what it is about this week, but the topic has come up quite a few interviews I've done, quite a few conversations, and if you guys know Hunter King from Storm Surge Reverb, he's been kind of doing a lot of research on it, and he had been, when this first started to see the light of day, that's about 2 years ago, the AI music, and he's like, I think I'm seeing something happen here, and it was really, really new. And he's like, is this guy for real? And then I looked into it, and I couldn't find anything. Later on, I met a few people that I didn't want to expose because they weren't lying about, doing it. But there are some bands now that Hunter has come to find that are like imposters. They create music and they make money off of music that saying they're somebody else.
Yeah,
I saw that. It was I read that really long thread that he put up, and it was basically probably some guy in the Netherlands who was creating AI variants of kind of like some mid-level surf bands that were really, really good and really, really loved. But bands that weren't big enough to have representation or
Yep.
legal authority behind them to sort this out for them.
Yeah.
And you know, one of them that I saw this was Penetrators. They're, you know,
Yep.
and you know, the drummer from that band is now playing in Big Ray and the Ultras. We played a couple shows with them this past year.
They're awesome.
They're awesome. They're hard.
Atlanta too.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And you know, it's predatory and you know, it's terrible. Just cherry picking the people who are going to make them a little bit of money for the scammers, but somebody who doesn't have the resources to allocate spending.
Yeah, I think it's as far as my career was going, my one friend said I was cherry picking, but I would cherry pick different people's ideas about skills in different job settings and positions in my job, and then I apply that to my abilities, which is kind of like all you have to do is type it in the computer now, and it'll do that. And I think that's a little it's obviously a cheat.
I deliberately manipulated this conversation to happen because there was something I kind of wanted to say. So thank you for the opportunity.
Say it, because
I was thinking about this the other day because just current events and everything. And I don't know, we didn't mention it earlier, but for me, a big influence on me is Radiohead, and that band has been around for a long time. We don't. Really,
Yep.
Well, I guess there are parts of us that do sign. This guy could be a little Johnny Greenwood and all that, and I mean. But, you know, obviously they do their thing and we do our thing. But what I really care about that band is that they keep doing it and they're back, right? So they're on tour. They played their first show, I think, last night or something in the last span of time. And I was listening to it, and I'm not too ashamed to admit that I had like a breakdown listening to Paranoid Android. I was watching that song. It was like people were like screaming out the live songs like they waited so long to hear Radiohead play, you know? And I lost it listening to it. It reminded me of 1997 and like who I was then and all this stuff that I'm going through then and now. You find me a robot that's going to do that, man. That's the main point that I wanted to make was like, yes, actually there are some benefits, I think, to AI music, and it will make music a little bit better on the margin. But if everybody just embraces this, what happens to that human element when you're sitting at home by yourself and you're listening to something from 97 and you have this big emotional catharsis? It doesn't happen. Robots don't provide that. We got a song called Relevancy Plan, and that's what I kind of wanted it to be about. I was making fun of myself a little bit because I felt irrelevant, so that was my plan to become relevant. And actually, that just kind of played out nicely. In my own world, I thought that was just going to be a song of like a masturbatory song about how much I was upset with myself. But now we play shows and people care, I guess. But what I really was trying to say is, isn't it extraordinary automating ordinary? Like, there's going to come a day where that's going to wear off. It's not going to be so exciting to see a robot do the mundane things that we already know how to do. And then where are we going to be, man? You know, so that's my soapbox. Thanks for coming. I'd like to also offer you Totino's pizza roll if you'd like. I'll ship them out to you.
Oh shit, Totino's, yes.
What I'm talking about?
It might not still be warm.
I like Totino's never stays warm for over 30 seconds.
Yeah,
This is true.
So, all right. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming on and spending, nearly 45 minutes talking to me. And I think, at least I feel, I connected with what you guys are doing through your music and through your art. I just really appreciate what you're doing, and the way you articulate your ideas is. I think we're kind of on the same page with everything, and I like meeting people that like-minded people.
Cool. I feel the same way, and listen, man, right back at you, because sometimes you get in. Well, we've had a good string of luck. I'll close on this. Like I'm proud of this band right now more than I probably ever have been, and that's because we had the shows he talked about. We did a nice residency and kind of started to recut our teeth again, and then we threw a festival in there and got really energized again. And then we stepped out and we played the 40 watt, you know, and I don't want to make that be like my Al Bundy moment, but I also want to like just acknowledge how cool that place is. When I say I'm excited about that, it's my respect for the place. And we're on this nice string right now. But I'll tell you, there's even times when I can wake up in the morning and still think like I did 20 years ago and go like, we should quit, man. We should quit. But it's great to be invited to talk to you and see what you thought about it. Like, some people are going to watch this and maybe they're going to listen to the albums, you know. So thank you, man. It's really cool. The same thing right back at you. Doing what you're doing is probably more helpful than you know. So thanks, brother.
I certainly hope so. I'm going to put a link of the Bandcamp in the description of your Bandcamp page so people can go and check it out and hopefully buy the digital copy and support the band.
And likewise, man, we're going to spread this show around. I know we'll talk probably offline about this, but both of these guys are gearheads. So I know you said you also do like equipment reviews and stuff like that. I think you can sign both of these guys.
Yeah.
Probably do another conversation with you for sure.
Oh, I like generally what the bands do is shoot it themselves, kind of like I don't want to name drop any specific channels because that would be in bad taste, but there's other channels that do it, but they don't necessarily do it with the musicians. It's usually like the roadie or like an assistant or a guitar tech, and I like getting it more, you know, with the actual musician with their own instruments. You know, they know it inside and out, and it's them specifically talking about it. I think that makes more sense. We'll do a follow-up.
This guy. These are spoiler alert if you're watching this part. But this guy Benson, he knows a lot about Benson. I bet you he could walk you through his rig while he rips on it a little bit. And that's before he even gets to the pedal board. That's a whole other conversation. And Mark on the other side, I'm going to venture out and say Ampeg, but he's got this whole thing where he's got a fridge and a mini fridge, and you could do a whole episode on the fridge and the mini fridge. So we'll be talking. We'll be talking.
I have the fridge, the mini fridge, and the cooler,
and the decimator.
And I do have a decimator. That is true.
And Mark built his basses. He's got 2 basses he plays, and he built them both.
Okay, before we go off, Mark, tell me about those basses.
So they are stereo basses. They're Fender Precision basses. The parts are primarily Fender parts. It's Fender 1950s neck. It's a big U profile neck that feels like a baseball bat, and I absolutely love it. And the body is a Fender Precision, and it's stereo. So I have 2 pickups with 2 outputs. And one pickup is dedicated just for clean low end bass, like a sine wave. And the other pickup is just high end. I boost the mids and I run overdrive on it. And then I blend the 2 sounds together, which, you know, it's a sound I've been looking for years. You get it in the studio because these guys in the studios have all these channels where they can, you know, take these different sounds and blend them together. And then I finally figured out how to do that live, and it's some good stuff.
I'm sure that makes the recording process for that a lot easier.
Well, I mean, you know, the guys in the studio, they have all these channels set up. You know, they can route the traffic to these different channels to do that. I can just plug straight in there. So, you know, I like to think it makes it easy for them, but it does, you know, give you that nice blended sound, all the things that you want, which is just, again, it's difficult to pull off live, so it gets me around some of those problems.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys once again for coming on. Everybody stay tuned for some more videos from the Serf Lords. You know, fingers crossed about the gear. Everybody that watches Pie Records knows there's a lot of gear videos and done by the bands. So thank you so much for talking with us tonight.
Thank you for having us on, Ryan.
Surf's up, man. Surf's up. Let's go.
Please join our Patreon page to get special behind-the-scenes footage and segments. exclusive to Patreon, YouTube updates, also a sneak peek of what's coming next week, a merch, and also services, free flash drive exclusively for segments in the band.